Because I know I look crazy, but I'm not crazy. I love my children. I love my boys so much. I wouldn't hurt them.
Newly released body cam footage obtained by Law and Crime is giving us a chilling new look at the investigation of Kentucky mom Tiffanie Lucas, who was sentenced last week for killing her 2 young sons. And this footage shows the tense moments following the shooting deaths of the boys, as well as Lucas's bizarre initial statement she made.
Are you injured? Huh?
No, I don't.
Are you injured? What you got going on? Nothing. I think she just shot kids. She's good. Don't do the kids. She's good. She got nothing on her. I'll check it out. I'll get up for something comes up.
Case of Commonwealth versus Tiffanie Lucas. This is case number 23 CR 404. The record will reflect that Commonwealth appears today for the Honorable Bailey Taylor, the Honorable Ann McAfee. The defendant appears today with the Honorable Richard Lonzak, the Honorable Jonathan Villavicencio. The matter is before the court today for sentencing. Mr. Taylor, would the Commonwealth like to make any opening statement?
Your Honor, the Commonwealth waives an opening statement.
Would the defense like to make an opening statement?
Your Honor, we would also waive opening.
Mr. Taylor, what would who would the Commonwealth call?
Commonwealth would call Richard Beal.
Detective Beal or Detective Beal, sir, would you come around here to the witness box? Watch your step as you step into the witness box. When inside, please go to the front of the chair. Raise your right hand, sir. Do you swear or affirm the testimony which you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, sir. Please be seated, make yourself comfortable. Pull up to that black microphone and speak loudly when questioned. Mr. Taylor, whenever he is seated and you are ready, you may proceed.
Mr. Beal, state your current name and occupation for the record, please.
My name is Richard Beal. I'm currently a police officer for the Jefferson County Public Schools.
And what was your occupation on November 8th of 2023?
I was employed by the Bullitt County Sheriff's Office and assigned to the Detective Division.
So did you investigate the deaths of Jaden Howard and Maurice Baker?
Yes, sir, I did.
And would you briefly describe how you investigated the incident on November 8th?
I was notified of the shooting. I responded from our detective's office to the scene at 213 Bentwood Drive. Upon my arrival, when I arrived, one of the children was already in the ambulance. The other one was in the, had been removed from the bedroom to the living room where EMS and fire were currently working on them. So,
and what was the nature of their injuries?
both of the victims had received gunshot wounds.
How many gunshot wounds?
One each.
And did then EMS transport them to Norton Children's Hospital?
Yes, sir, they did.
And is that where they passed away?
Yes, sir.
And the suspect in this case, later defendant, was Tiffanie Lucas, is that correct?
That's correct.
And was she tested for gunshot residue?
Yes, sir, she was.
And what was the result of the gunshot residue examination?
The examination, the testing was performed, of course, on the day of the incident. And it appears that, I'm looking for a date that I received it, but I've got the results set right here from the Kentucky State Police Central Lab. The examination requested was identification of gunshot residues. The results and conclusions, and I'll read them. Particles containing lead, antimony, and barium were found on the lifts from item 17, Tiffanie Lucas. Such particles are characteristic of gunshot residue from a discharged firearm. Next paragraph, particles containing lead, barium, or lead antimony were found on the lips from item 17, Tiffanie Lucas. Such particles are consistent with gunshot residue, but may also originate from other sources. Gunshot residue can be deposited on the hands by discharging a firearm.
Detective, is there any doubt in your mind that Tiffanie Lucas was the person who shot Jaden Howard and Maurice Baker?
There's no doubt at all.
No further questions.
Mr. Lonensack or Mr. Sente?
Your Honor, we have no more questions for Detective Beal.
Is this witness free to be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. You're welcome to stay in the courtroom or leave the courthouse. Please, Commonwealth, call next.
I don't believe I see Mr. Donnelly, so I will proceed to call the victims at this point. I'd first like to call Regina Rowland.
Roland. Ma'am, would you please come forward to my right in the witness box over here? Watch your step as you step up inside of the witness box around the corner there. When you get up in the witness box, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony which you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you, ma'am. Have a seat there in the black chair. Make yourself comfortable. Pull up to that microphone as close as you can, and please speak loudly when questioned. Mr. Taylor.
Ms. Rowan, I understand you're very upset, so if you need some time to compose yourself, we'll allow it. Would you like to proceed?
I'm ready.
Ms. Rowan, you are Jaden's grandmother, is that correct?
Yes.
And would you like to address the court with your victim impact statement?
Yes.
When you're ready, go ahead.
You know we love Jaden and Maurice. You know Jaden was the only thing we had left. And you took him from us. You know I had already lost his dad. And then my other son. And then you took Jaden. You have ripped our lives apart. And you know that you could have gave them kids to us and we would have took care of them. But you have been selfish. My heart is in pieces. And you know that you have always had a place to drop them off. You took him from me, and I hurt every day. Every second of the day, I hurt. And I hope they give you 2 life sentences without the possibility of parole. I want you to suffer just like I'm suffering right now. They did not deserve that. You took my little man from me. And we all love him so much, Jaden and Maurice. Oh, I remember the time he called me, Nana, and told me he loved me. And it took him forever to cuddle with me. But Jaden is our blood. Oh God, oh Lord, give me strength. You have hurt so many people, Tiffany. Jaden had cousins that loved him, Melody and Torn. Torn sleeps with a teddy bear and a picture of Jaden every night. I don't have nothing else to say. She just knows, she knows. She done ripped us apart.
Mr. Taylor, any additional questions?
No other questions.
Any questions from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
Is this witness free to be excused?
Yes,
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am. You're welcome to have a seat back in the courtroom or leave the courthouse. Who does the Commonwealth call next?
Call Bobby Baker.
Ms. Baker, would you please go around the witness box, right up this way, around over here. Watch your step as you step up inside the witness box. When you're inside, please turn around, face me, and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony which you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a seat in that chair. Make yourself comfortable and pull up to that microphone and speak loudly when questioned. Mr. Taylor?
Ms. Baker, what is your relationship to the victims in this case, the two little boys?
I'm the aunt,
Of
Maurice,
of Maurice?
but I consider myself Jaden's aunt as well.
I understand. Would you please read your impact statement for the court?
Tiffany, on November 8, 2023, you changed the lives of two beautiful boys. You broke my brother's heart, my heart, and the heart of anyone who have encountered them. Jaden and Maurice didn't see you for who you really are. They loved you so much, but at the end of the day, you became what children their age fear the most, a monster. Not for 1 minute do I believe, like you said, you were in a hard spot. You had support in so many ways that you could have used. Like I often told you when we spoke, being a good mom is also making the decision that you can't give the boys the best life and allowing another parent to step in. But you refused to do so selfishly because it wouldn't align with what social media saw. Instead, you decided to play God and decide the boys' faith. I often see these court shows where the defendants are forgiven by the victim's family, but not today, not by me. I will never forgive you. I struggle and often wonder what else kind of pain did they endure at the hands of you before you ultimately took their life. Part of this statement I was gonna write, I hope every day you close your eyes that they haunt you, but I don't. You don't deserve to see them and they shouldn't see you. If he decides to give you any kind of leniency today and grant you parole at some point, bitch, I'll be there at every parole hearing. Do you hear me? I'll be there at every parole hearing.
Hold on, ma'am.
Ms. Baker,
Ma'am.
just a moment.
Hold on. They may have more questions.
I have no further questions, Your
Any
Honor.
questions from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
Then you can go ahead and leave now. Thank you. Mr. Taylor, who would the Commonwealth call next?
Naomi Crawford.
Ms. Crawford, would you please go around at the witness box and watch your step as you step inside? When you're inside the witness box, please turn around, face me, and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony which you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Please have a seat in the chair. Pull up that black microphone as closely as you can and speak loudly when questioned. Ms. Taylor, Mr. Taylor?
And Ms. Crawford, what's your relationship to the victims in this
I'm
case?
his aunt.
Maurice,
Yes.
and what would you like to tell the court?
I just want to tell the court and mainly Tiffany that he took away our chance to have a relationship with my nephew. When my brother calls me, I wonder how he's doing, and I answer the phone so quick because I hope he's okay. Because I remember how you broke him. So at 12:30 at night when he calls me, If I don't answer that phone, if I don't see that phone call, I'm in such agony because I wonder, is he okay? Do you need me? That's my answer to him. His son is gone. You can never bring him back. And there is nothing and no amount of time that this court could give you that is fair. Life expectancy is about 70 years. You took 60 from them. Anything less than 60 for both of them or each of them is not even enough.
I have no further questions.
Any questions from the defense?
No, no.
Thank you, ma'am. Is she free to be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may either go back to your seat or leave the courtroom. Who would the Commonwealth call next?
Michelle Reddy.
Rayleigh?
Reddy.
Ray. Ms. Ray, would you please come up to the witness box where the other folks were seated? Watch your step as you step inside. You're up on the platform there. Turn around, face me, and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. You can have a seat there, make yourself comfortable, but pull up that black microphone and speak loudly when questioned. Mr. Taylor, whenever you are ready, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. For the record, her last name is Reddy, R-E-A-D-Y. R-E-A-D-Y.
Ready, okay, thank you.
Ready, like
Ready.
ready to go.
Ready. Thank you.
And Ms. Reddy, what's your relationship to the victims?
Aunt,
And which young man?
Maurice.
And what would you like to tell the court?
Actually, I wrote something out that I would like to read.
Sure.
My heart's racing. First, I would like to say thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak. Second, I would like to say it was really hard to even gather the words or just sit down and write. I couldn't even write it. I had to, literally was driving in my car, which is bad, it's a distraction, and talk, text it. And first, like I said, I would like to thank you, Judge, for allowing us the opportunity to express what words simply just could not describe. This last year has been an emotional roller coaster for my whole family and for the community. Most of all, my brother. I simply can't fathom what he must think or how he must feel waking up every day, trying to put the pieces of your life back together after suffering such a loss and a tragedy. It's difficult to even mouth the words that my nephew was killed, that he was murdered. He was murdered by someone that was supposed to be a protector, to love him unconditionally. Personally, I've suffered from anxiety this last year with just the thoughts of what they went through leading up to that. I don't believe that this was an isolated incident where they were being, that there weren't other things going on that they were dealing with. Again, I suffered anxiety with just the thoughts of what he must have felt, the things he may have experienced leading up to the death, if only walls could talk. As I mentioned, I'm being treated for anxiety. I'm seeing a therapist. Because it's difficult to close my eyes at night. I didn't get much sleep last night. Some days I've had trouble getting out of bed. Just to process it all. No one, and I mean no one, deserves to go through this. No matter what the motive or the reason, you had options. You had options you chose not to take. There were resources.
There were resources you chose not to take. Regardless if it was drugs, regardless if you were dealing with depression, people deal with that every day. It was a choice you made not to get help. There was family you chose not to contact. I reached out to you on Facebook at one point. So even if you didn't have my number, I offered actually anytime because I already knew whatever the relationship, you wasn't gonna let anyone see them. But you had that option. You bypassed every option you had and instead you decided to be selfish and take their lives. Those were things you dealt with and you chose not to get help. And I ended my thoughts there.
Questions?
No further questions, Your
Any
Honor.
questions?
No.
Is she free to be excused?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you, ma'am. You may consent to your seat or leave the courtroom. Who does the Commonwealth call next?
Samaya Jones.
Ms. Jones, would you please come around the witness box here? Once your step, as you step up, when you're inside the witness box, please face me and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you, ma'am. Have a seat in the chair, but make yourself comfortable. Pull up to that black microphone as closely as you can and speak loudly when questioned. Mr. Taylor?
Ms. Jones, what's your relationship to the two young men that were murdered?
Cousin.
And to both of them? And what would you like to tell the board?
The selfish act that Tiffanie committed on the morning of November 8th, 2023 has caused everyone, I feel like especially my aunt and my cousin, like I can't like really speak right now because it's so hard to process everything that's been going on.
Take your time.
Especially like with me dealing with other problems and then this, it's just like everything is just so hard to process right now. I'm shaking trying to talk, especially like just sitting here in front of her, seeing her, it's hard. And waking up like every morning and realizing what's really happened, that it's true, and that it's no bringing them back is really hard to deal with.
Is there anything else you'd like to say to the court?
I just wanted to ask Tiffanie, did you ever love your boys? Did you ever, like, how long have you been planning this? Because I don't really think that you'll be able to do this to somebody that you love. Especially with you being their mama. You're not supposed to do this to your own kids. I don't have kids myself, but I know this. You're supposed to protect them and protect them. But instead you hurt them. And you took the most precious thing. It's been hard. It's been hard for me to focus in school and everything else because it's like 100 questions racing through my mind every day. Like, I had so much stuff that I wanted to say, but now that I'm right here, I can't actually say it because it's just so much going on through my head at once.
Would you like to say anything else?
Any questions? Any questions from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
Is she free to be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. On that. She free?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am. Who is the Commonwealth call next?
Nikki Gregory.
Ms. Gregory, would you please come around to the witness box? Watch your step as you step up inside of the witness box. And when you're inside, please come around and face it. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Have a seat. Make yourself comfortable in the chair. Pull up to the microphone as close as they can. Speak loudly when questioned. Mr. Taylor.
Ms. Gregory, what's your relationship to the two young boys?
Sorry, can you just... Very hard to look at her right now. I was Jaden Howard's stepmom.
Ma'am, I can't hear you.
I was Jaden Howard's stepmother.
And what would you like to tell the court?
Okay. I have been in Jaden's life since he was 6 months old. While I'm thankful for the time I had with him, it was too short. My daughter, Charlie Howard, is 4 years old, and she has already lost her father, and he took her only brother. Both very tragic. Now I have to explain what happened to him by the hands of his own mother. I enjoy dropping him off and picking him up from school. I enjoy playing his favorite songs on the way home. I would cherish our family vacations at the beach. He was so scared of the ocean waves that all he wanted to do was go to the pool. And he swam so much that he would be asleep before the sun went down. I will miss his smile and his laugh. While I was pregnant, Jaden was very protective and loving of my stomach. He would rub and kiss it. He enjoyed being a big brother to little Reese, but now he was going to be a big brother to a little girl. My daughter would not be able to share any family vacation experiences. She would never be able to call him to tell him to come over and play with her. Now all she has are pictures and a dinosaur stuffed animal he used to sleep with. And now the pictures are going further and further back on my phone. Throughout the years, both sides of the family tried to help you with your drug addiction and your poor choices. Countless times. You have been neglecting them, and both sides try to put those kids in a better place. You want to play the crazy card, you want to act like you couldn't handle life. Them boys had the support and love they needed. They didn't need you. What you did was evil, selfish, and hateful. There isn't anything the judge can sentence you to make this easier. Them boys were innocent, and I wish you were facing the death penalty. You don't deserve to breathe the same air as us. I wish they would bury you under the jail cell. You don't deserve a tombstone. You don't deserve to be remembered. But since that isn't an option, I hope the judge takes your freedom and never ever gives it back. I hope he doesn't fail the boys like the system has this far. But we wouldn't.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Any questions from the defense?
None, Your Honor.
Ma'am, you're free to leave the witness box. You can remain in the courtroom or leave the courtroom. Who does the Commonwealth call next?
Commonwealth calls Brian Donnelly.
Mr. Donnelly, would you please come forward, sir? Mr. Donnelly, if you'll go to the witness box, watch your step as you step inside. When you're inside, please turn around and face me and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Have a seat, make yourself comfortable, and pull up the microphone. Speak loudly when questioned. Mr. Taylor, whenever you are ready, proceed.
Mr. Donnelly, state your name and occupation for the record.
Ryan Donnelly, probation and parole officer with the Department of Corrections, the state of Kentucky and Bullitt County.
For purposes of this hearing, I assume you know that Ms. Lucas has pled guilty to 2 counts of capital murder.
I do.
And What is the sentencing range for capital murder in the state of Kentucky?
The sentencing range is from 20 years to life and life without parole.
And on the question of parole eligibility, when would Ms. Lucas become eligible to be evaluated by the parole board?
Should the sentence be in years,
Yes.
the maximum that could be combined would be to 70 years, and she would be eligible for parole after 20 years.
And that's an 85% crime. Would you go into a little more detail about?
85%, but with a maximum of 70, so the state sets a maximum of 20 years, so this one would actually be less than 85%.
And is the same true of the sentence of life?
With life, it would be the same. With life without the possibility of parole, it would be a sentence of her natural life.
Thank you. No further questions.
Any questions from the defense?
Yes, Your Honor, very briefly. Mr. Donnelly, you testified that the range for non-aggravated murder in Kentucky is
20 to 50, I misspoke.
and life or life without the possibility of parole.
Correct.
Are you aware that life without the possibility of parole is not an eligible sentence without an aggravator?
Correct.
Okay. So the maximum sentence applicable here today is life.
If they do not find an aggravator, that would be correct.
You had said that you spoke a little bit about the statutory range and when Ms. Lucas would become parole eligible. Are you aware that sort of the parole board's statutory ability to pass somebody, to defer them later on down the line? Are you aware that if somebody is convicted of a life sentence, the parole board can ask them to serve the entirety of their sentence after one parole hearing and have them serve out and never see them again?
Correct.
But in every other case, for every term of years, the parole board has to give the person a maximum deferment of 10 years before they reconsider their case.
Correct.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Any questions?
No further questions.
Is he free to be excused?
Yes.
Mr. Lonzak?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Donnelly. Mr. Taylor, who would the Commonwealth call next?
No further witnesses, Your Honor.
Will there be any witnesses for the defense?
No, Your Honor. We appreciate that this is sort of a hybrid sentencing hearing where this is, because the issue of sentencing is open, this functions more as a sentencing hearing a trial would, but in keeping with a sort of more traditional hearing, we only have arguments where we incorporate our investigation and things we've learned over the course of the case.
Thank you, sir. At this time, prior to closing argument, then, have you had an opportunity to review with your client the pre-sentence investigation report prepared by the Division of Probation and Parole?
We have, Your Honor. If we could approach very briefly on this
Yes,
issue.
sir. anything additional on the pre-sentence report?
No, Your Honor.
All right then, anything in closing from the defense?
Yes, Your Honor. On November 8th, 2023, Tiffanie Lucas shot and killed her two sons, Jaden Howard and Maurice Baker Jr., while she was in the throes of a psychotic disorder that had been going on for days. Throughout the course of this case, we investigated and interviewed dozens of witnesses, and we certainly don't deny the victims in this case their perspective and their grief. But in the dozens of witnesses we conducted, we spoke with friends and family members, neighbors. We spoke to strangers who only ever saw Tiffanie in her worst moments, in the throes of mental illness. And the refrain that we heard over and over again is that Tiffanie Lucas was a devoted mother who showed her love for her children.
Folks, this is a court of law. Outbursts will not be tolerated. Now, if you cannot maintain your composure while the other side presents their argument, I'm going to ask you to leave now. I don't want to hold anybody in contempt. That's not what needs to happen at this point. But I cannot allow you to continue your outbursts in the courtroom. So if you need to leave, now is your opportunity to leave. Keep in mind, any further outbursts can be and will be treated as contempt. Go ahead, Mr. Longside.
Your Honor, in the dozens of interviews we conducted, witnesses told us over and over again that Tiffanie Lucas was a devoted mother whose love for her children shone through in the ways that she cared for them. No one could have imagined that Tiffanie would have hurt those children. We've come before the court today to address the open issue of sentencing and ask the court to consider fully the circumstances of the case and determine a just, fair, and reasonable outcome. At the end of today's argument, we're going to ask the court to consider a sentence of 35 years in prison. Now, before I get through the rest of my written materials, Your Honor, we have prepared a short video highlighting Mrs. Lucas's behavior on November 7th and 8th that we think highlights her mental health crisis.
Blue.
What's going on? Who's this? Is she okay? Where's the kids? Okay. She's a ball. I have to take her. $120. I got one female detained. No. Are you injured? Huh? No, are you injured? She's not injured. What you got going on? Nothing. I think she just shot kids. She's good. Don't do the kids. She's good. She got nothing on her. I'll check it out. I'll get up for something comes up. You want to say where I already trained next door, that's the mom. So, can you tell me what happened, man? Stand right there. I get on my truck, stand around. So we call my phone. So my kids are down in there. So I just went in there and found something like that. Where's the kids? Where's the gun at? It's laying up the shell. I didn't touch the gun. Okay. Yeah.
It's going to be 2 over 3, Benwood Drive, 213 Benwood Drive.
Yeah.
Hearings? Huh?
I shot myself in the head.
You what?
Shot myself in my ear.
You shot yourself in the ear? What's here? I don't see anything. There's nothing there. Okay. Where are you?
You want to say where I already trained next door, that's the mom. So, can you tell me what happened, man? Stand right there. I get on my truck, stand around. So we call my phone. So my kids are down in there. So I just went in there and found something like that. Where's the kids? Where's the gun at? It's laying up the shell. I didn't touch the gun. Okay. Yeah.
It's going to be 2 over 3, Benwood Drive, 213 Benwood Drive.
Yeah.
Hearings?
I shot myself.
Huh?
I shot myself in the head.
You what?
Shot myself in my ear.
You shot yourself in the ear? What's here? I don't see anything. There's nothing there. Okay. Where are you?
Your Honor, we know that Tiffanie Lucas was psychotic.
Sir? Can I address the court? I didn't want to speak at first, but can I speak?
Okay.
I'm always glad to say.
Okay. Have a seat. Let me get this gentleman finished. Go ahead.
Your Honor, we know that Tiffany was psychotic on November 8th because her behavior before, during, and after, some of which you've just seen, supports it, but also because we were able to have Tiffany evaluated by Dr. Philip Resnick. Dr. Resnick is a renowned forensic psychiatrist. He's also one of the foremost experts in the country, if not the world, on the topic of filicide, parents who kill their children. We submitted Dr. Resnick's CV to the court, and I won't belabor it here, but he was able to interview Ms. Lucas.
Would you approach the bench, Mr. Craven?
Yes, sir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a 10-minute recess. I ask you please be orderly. Mr. Baker, you'll be back where you are when we return, please. All right, sir? So now we'll take a 10-minute recess. All right, Mr. Lonizak. Oh, wait. Yeah. Mr. Lonizak, you may proceed, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, we were discussing Tiffany's evaluation by Dr. Philip Resnick on November 16th, just 8 days after the shooting while she was still experiencing her psychotic disorder. Dr. Resnick went on to conduct interviews of family members, review extensive materials, including the materials provided in the investigation by Detective Beal, records, reports throughout the length of the case before reaching an ultimate opinion. Dr. Resnick learned in his interview with Tiffany that she was experiencing two co-occurring and powerful delusions in the days leading up to the shooting. A person experiencing this kind of psychotic break can't distinguish these fantasies that their mind has concocted in the mental illness from reality. There's no mechanism that she could have to pull herself away from her deep-held belief that these things that she was feeling and experiencing were as real to her today as this podium is in front of me. Or was as real to her then as this podium is today. I apologize. First, Tiffanie Lucas suffered a delusion of grandeur. She believed that God was speaking to her and had chosen her for a higher purpose. On November 5th, she went to see her aunt and grandmother, and while she was there, she saw scripture written in the bark of a tree and tried to point it out to her family. And when she wasn't able to do so, when they couldn't see what she saw, she got frustrated. That day on the drive home, in the sky, she saw angels. She saw scripture written in the air. And she took over 40 photos of the blank sky and sent it to her family members, saying, "Look, here it is. He's real. I've been chosen." At the same time, Tiffany experienced another powerful delusion, this one a persecutory one. In order to maintain my client's privacy, Your Honor, we've submitted some details of her social history to the court in advance, and I don't want to discuss those here, but I will say that based on her experience, some of the things she's been through in her life, a persecutory delusion in the nature that we're about to discuss, frankly isn't so far outside of her experiences. In the days before the shooting, Tiffanie became convinced that she and her sons were being targeted by a conspiracy of unknown and powerful people. She became completely convinced that this group was stalking them and that their goal was to abduct her and her sons, that they would separate them, sexually traffic them, rape, torture, and murder them. She was fully convinced that her beautiful, innocent, and amazing children would be dragged from her arms and subjected to every cruel horror before they were killed. She was certain that they were headed for a fate worse than death, and she was certain that it would happen soon. On November 5th, when Tiffanie visited her aunt and grandmother, she began that meeting by telling them that she was followed by police on the way to the house, that she had to throw her cell phone and her children's video game console out of the window because they were being bugged and monitored through those devices. The next morning, Tiffany's grandmother got a text from an unknown number saying, "It's Tiff, call 911, and later learned that Tiffany had run into a Family Dollar and told the clerk that somebody was chasing her, that she was afraid for her life and she needed to use her phone. In the video, you can see Tiffany jump up on the counter in Waffle House and wrap her arms around her younger son, Maurice. She later told Dr. Resnick that she had heard somebody in the Waffle House say his full name out loud, a stranger who could identify her son, and she knew in that moment that he must have been a part of the conspiracy, and so she jumped up to protect him and then realized it looked strange and was looking over her shoulder the rest of the time she was there. All through this process, Tiffany tried to get help. While her mind was drowning in mental illness, unable to understand what was happening to her, Tiffany's soul still cried out for help. You saw her go to her neighbor and ask that she pray with her. You know that she went to the stranger at Family Dollar looking for someone to help save her. She reached out to friends and family, but because she didn't understand what was happening, because she couldn't articulate what was going on, because her thoughts were scattered by this acute mental crisis, she couldn't tell them what was going on, and they didn't know how to help her. In those interviews, over and over again, we heard, "I knew something was wrong, but I never thought she would hurt those kids." Tiffany told Dr. Resnick that on the morning of November 8th, she received an Amber Alert, and that because the woman at the Waffle House the day before had a name tag that said Amber, she knew that this was a sign that the alert was meant for her and her children, and the people coming to hurt them were on their way. She told Dr. Resnick that she saw a police van in the neighborhood, and that's when she realized that there were more people coming than she could fight off. She didn't have a hope of saving her kids. She kept her kids home from school that morning to keep them together, and when she heard sirens in the distance, in her mind, in that broken place, she thought that meant that they were on the way to the door, and she was out of time. The neighbor's security footage picked up sounds of the gunshots. There were 4 fired. Tiffany shot both of her children in the head in order to ensure they died as quickly, as painlessly as possible before turning a gun on herself. But as you heard, the gun jammed. Injuries on her hands are consistent with her trying desperately to clear the jam and not being able to do so. She even told police that she shot herself in the head because she didn't recognize the malfunction. She was so enthralled by this delusion, she never planned on walking out of that room. When she realized she was still alive and she couldn't get the gun to work, her broken mind couldn't formulate another plan, and she did the only thing she could think to do. She went outside to start calling for help. There's been a lot of publicity surrounding the case, a lot of misinformation, a lot of people left wondering why this could have happened. But we know that Tiffany was psychotic. Her actions before, during, and after show that this event wasn't the product of a rational mind. There's no other motive. There's no plan. The only question that still remains is why did this woman go through a psychotic break now? Why at this time? Tiffany's psychosis was brought on by addiction, but not in a conventional way. Dr. Resnick diagnosed Tiffany with opioid-induced psychotic disorder onset during withdrawal. Essentially, Tiffany's psychotic episode was brought on by opioid withdrawal. She abstained from use, and in trying to get clean, this was the side effect. While they're dangerous in other ways, I'm not obviously here to advocate for the use of opioids in any way, they don't typically cause psychosis as a symptom. No other drugs were found in Tiffany's system, and Tiffany testified to Dr. Resnick, told Dr. Resnick in the interview that she had been weaning herself off and had fully stopped about 10 days before this happened. Because it's so unusual for opioids to be the source of this issue, we consulted with another expert, a neuropharmacologist named Dr. Jonathan Lippman, to have him explain to us what happened and understand better. We learned that in rare cases, a person who doesn't have an active psychotic disorder or these pre-existing mental health conditions may have some kind of secondary vulnerability, some dormant psychological fragility. And when that person goes through the physical and psychological discomfort of opioid withdrawal, it can trigger this secondary vulnerability and trigger the mental health crisis that we see here. Tiffany became addicted to opiates in the same way that many Kentuckians did. Years ago, she was prescribed them by a dentist following a procedure. And when the prescription ran out, Tiffany continued to look for medication in the street. Years later, when fentanyl came out, it became cheaper and easier to get, and Tiffany made the switch. Tiffany had quit using many times before, every time for her children. When she found out she was pregnant with Jaden, she quit cold turkey and she carried him to term healthy. Jaden was born without drugs in the system and without any drug-related complications. The same was true for Maurice Jr. Then in 2018, Tiffany lost custody of her children and she worked a program. And she quit again and she got them back. But like so many people, she would relapse. In 2019, Tiffany's family struggled. Tiffany's father died that year. And Jaden's father, Darrell Howard, was also killed. He was taken from his home in Louisville while Jaden was present, and his body was later found. But by 2023, Tiffany was ready to quit drugs again and start over with her family. She was tired of having to hide from addiction from her kids. She was taking just enough at that point to keep herself from getting sick. And she had just gotten a job at a law firm, making roughly $30 an hour. Tiffany's bills had been paid by her boyfriend, but this was real financial independence, and she was excited for the chance to start over fresh with her kids. So she weaned herself off herself. She started taking lower and lower dosages, and then about 10 days before, she stopped completely. It's impossible to say what went wrong this time when she quit. If it's that she miscalculated and she tried to take it out of her system too quickly, or if it's because this was fentanyl instead of pills, or if it's because her brain chemistry had changed over time. It's hard to say. But Tiffany unwittingly drove herself into the psychotic event trying to get clean. So we've discussed what happened and why, and that leaves us with one thing left to talk about today, Your Honor, the reason we're here. What do we do now? What's a right and fair and just outcome in a case that's so tragic, where so many people have lost so much. Tiffanie loved her children. They were her world. And she didn't choose to be psychotic. She couldn't have predicted that this would happen as a result of her trying to detox. But Tiffanie also understands that it was her hand that held the gun and her choices that brought us here today. We're not here today, Your Honor, looking for some kind of pass or for the court to absolve her of her guilt or to say, we're not here presenting a mental health defense. When Tiffanie signed the open plea, she knew that the question wasn't whether or not she goes to prison, but for how many decades. If the court gives Tiffanie a life sentence, then the parole board can hear her case once in 20 years and can decide to waive her case, to have her serve out, and never hear from her again. They can throw her away completely. But if the court gives her a term of years, no matter how high that term of years is, they have to reconsider. 20 years, 30 years, 40 years out, they have to reconsider. And they never have to take her. They never have to release her. She can either die in prison or she can live to see the end of the sentence. But somebody has to look. Somebody has to reevaluate the case. And Your Honor, who knows what we'll know about mental health and psychosis and grief and addiction and the issues that brought us here today in 20 years and in 30 and in 40. Today we're going to ask the court to consider a 35-year sentence, as we reasonably believe that that there may be some hope that some family may be out there still when she gets out. But we leave it in your hands, Your Honor.
Counsel, would you like for you to approach the bench? Mr. Baker, I'm going to ask you to come up here too, please. Come through to the left of the podium on this side, if you would, please, sir.
I think they're ready. Up here. Okay.
Come on up. Watch your step as you step up into the witness box. When you're up there, please raise your right hand facing you. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a seat in the chair. Make yourself comfortable. Pull up to that microphone. Mr. Taylor, do you wish to question him?
State your name for the record, please.
Maurice Baker.
And what is your relationship to the young man who was murdered, Maurice?
This is my son.
And would you like to tell the court how this has affected you?
It affected me in so many ways, kind of hard for me to explain. Especially due to the fact, ever since my son was born, I begged Tiffanie for my son on so many different occasions because of drug use, the prostitution that she did, and the other ways she had him in a harmful situation. I didn't just lose Maurice November the 8th. I lost my son really the day he was born, because ever since he was born, she held my son over my head I begged her so many times to keep him out of harmful situations. Yeah, I cursed her. I threatened her. I did a lot. But only on behalf of my son. I begged her. She knew it. It's simple drug abuse. It's manipulation. I called around. There's not nobody in this courtroom I haven't called and talked from my family to her family that haven't heard about me asking for my son and wondering what was going on with him. She kept him from me for a year straight. So many birthdays he missed. I have a party planned. She never let him come. I begged her. The last message, the last time I texted her, I asked her, please, can I just talk to my son? She ignored me. Every day I reached out to her that I couldn't see my son. I'm asking that the court give her the maximum punishment. I'll never see my son again. Jaden's family will never see them again. Anything less than the maximum punishment for her doing this to them will be unjust. They don't have a second chance. She chose to take drugs, put them in that situation. It was people begging for those kids, not just me as a father. It's aunties, cousins, her family members. Of course she had a breakdown. Methamphetamine does that. Opiates does that. You took the choice to do those drugs. I've been in prison before. I took for the consequence. Choices I've made, I suffer consequences. She needs consequence. She's always been able to manipulate. I want the judge to see her for what she is. She's a monster. I got phone records and I have a phone with me begging her to see my son. It wasn't a time that she couldn't have dropped my son off and gave him to me. She could have called me. I don't want her to be able to manipulate once again. You know what you are. I'm pretty sure if it's phone conversation for the jail, they know what you are. You chose to prostitute. You chose to do drugs. You hallucinated and killed them boys for no reason. Those two good kids. You don't deserve public defenders. You don't deserve sheriffs around you. That's all I have to say.
Any questions, Mr. Taylor?
No, Your Honor.
Any questions from the defense?
Briefly,
Hold on, sir.
Mr. Baker? Mr. Baker?
Yes. Don't push the button. There you go.
I am truly sorry for your loss, and I hope you know that I mean that. I do need to ask some follow-up questions about some things that you just testified to.
Yeah.
As part of this case, we received discovery from the Commonwealth. They took the contents of Tiffany's phone, in which there were text messages and screenshots of text messages. You testified that you had previously threatened Tiffany, correct?
Yep.
Do you recall sending the following text message? Bitch, I'm gonna kill your son, fuck you. You think shit's a game like you forgot who I am. I'm Reese, bitch, and if you think I was fucked up to you before, just imagine what I'm gonna do now since I can't see my son. I'm rich, you broke-ass loser bitch. You will never see your kids again.
No.
No further questions, Your Honor.
I have hope. Tiffany has a good way to manipulate. You being her lawyer, I can see you
Your Honor.
sending the text
Hold
message.
on, Mr. Baker. Hold on 1 second. Yes, sir.
I believe that's outside the scope of questions.
Mr. Taylor, any questions?
No questions.
Mr. Baker, thank you very much, sir. If you would, please have a seat back in the courtroom where you were seated. Just walk in front of the podium here and around on this side, over here. Thank you. All right, does the defense wish to call any witnesses in response to that testimony?
No, Your Honor.
All right, is there anything else in closing then from the defense?
Nothing further.
Commonwealth's closing, Mr. Taylor.
Yes. Your Honor, here are the uncontroverted facts. On November 8th, 2023, Tiffanie Lucas committed an unspeakably brutal crime. The lives of Maurice and Jaden, two innocent little boys, were heartlessly taken by the person who should have been loving them and protecting them, their mother. In the space of a few terrible moments, the promising futures of Maurice and Jaden were forever snuffed out. And this horrible crime shattered the lives of the boys' family and friends, who have all been robbed, as you've heard today, of the opportunities to celebrate Christmas, celebrate birthdays, and the joy of watching Jaden and Maurice grow up. And there are young children in this family that were particularly protected. You heard that some of them cry themselves to sleep at night with some of the young men's stuffed animals. They no longer have a beloved friend or playmate. Tiffanie Lucas not only murdered Jaden and Maurice, but she forever scarred the lives of their family and friends, both adults and children. And I thank Ms. Baker for providing this. But as the victims all too well know, all that is left now are the memories and pictures of Jaden and Maurice. They are forever lost to their friends and family. And for this reason, the Commonwealth believes that the only just sentence that can be imposed is a sentence of life on each count of capital murder. Thank you.
Have been references made by the defense to the defendant's association with God while she was acting. This is not a question of violation of the laws of God or any religious belief. This is a question of violations of the laws of this Commonwealth, particularly statutory murder, which provides for a violation when someone with the intent to cause the death of another person causes the death of that person. Ms. Lucas, to her credit, has come before the court and has admitted to her conduct. She has entered a plea of guilty to 2 counts of murder that involves the intentional taking of a life. Now, the court has considered mitigating conditions and aggravating circumstances as argued by the parties. The court has considered the contents of the file as well as recent filings that detail the defendant's position. The court will note that the defendant's act of killing were intentional and resulted in multiple deaths, in particular 2 children under 12 years of age. The law of this Commonwealth is clear. The statutory penalty for each of these counts is 20 to 50 years or life imprisonment. Mr. Donnelly has testified as to parole eligibility. Now, what I will say is this. Kentucky's method of incarceration for felony offenses is what's referred to as indeterminate sentencing. It can be somewhat difficult to follow if you don't deal with it every day. But ultimately, the court has to assume that the components of the judicial system, which includes the executive branch's parole board, will be followed to the law. So the duties and responsibilities of that board and what they do are to be determined by that board. This court has to assume they will do what is just and appropriate. What I have struggled with through this hearing today is a mother is more than the giving of life. It is providing food, clothing, shelter, but more importantly, love and security. I cannot imagine the sheer horror these children must have experienced seeing their mother with a gun. The sheer horror that second child had as he heard the discharge of that weapon for the first child. And maybe even both of them seeing their mother pull the trigger, taking their life. At this time, the court will state for the record, the court has considered the probation pre-sentence report, arguments of counsel, the contents of the file, and no sufficient reason having been shown why judgment not be pronounced and sentence imposed. In case number 23 CR 404, Commonwealth of Kentucky versus Tiffanie Lucas, as to count 1, the court will adjudge the defendant guilty of the offense of murder and fix her sentence at life in prison. On count 2, the court will adjudge the defendant guilty of the offense of murder and fix her sentence at life in prison. This time, the court will order that the Sheriff's Department deliver the defendant to the custody of the Corrections Cabinet for service of her sentence of imprisonment. That's all for today. Court will be adjourned.